what are some of the key steps that we should all be taking, in your opinion, to reduce our exposure to this stuff?
Yes. I think there's some heavy hitters here that can make a big difference, get you big bang for your buck. And this is also in terms of microplastic exposure. Again, microplastics have their own problems and they have the chemicals that they're carrying with them. Mm-hmm. But one of the first and foremost things that people should do is get a water filter. Mm-hmm. The best one you can get is a reverse osmosis water filter. You can get a countertop one. That filters out 99% of microplastics, and it's filtering out bisphenol A, bisphenol S, the phthalates, the forever chemicals, PFAS. It's filtering out all those chemicals that are endocrine disruptors, that are disrupting hormones, that are associated with neurodevelopmental disorders like autism spectrum disorder, like ADHD. So a countertop one is an easy solution for people. You can get a whole house one as well. The caveat there is reverse osmosis does filter out everything, including trace elements and minerals that we actually want in our water. And so you can add those back with, a mineral supplement, or you can get these little mineral drops to add back to your water that have these trace elements, like manganese and selenium and these things that you want in your water. And so that is also important to consider. Number one thing that you could do, easiest solution right there. You're going to be doing so much by doing that. The second thing I would say is avoid heating any kind of plastic, okay? Whether it's like your Tupperware, get rid of any spatulas, all those plastic, anything that's plastic that's going to touch heat. Don't do that. And I want to get to the coffee cups because that's the one you don't think about because it doesn't look like plastic. Mm-hmm. It's very tricky because they're lined with plastic. You have to I really want these companies like Starbucks and everyone to start lining their cups with polylactic acid. Why not? You can do it. I know Blue Bottle Coffee does it. It's the only one that I know that does, but you can get sugarcane and line them. But until then, bring your own mug or, I don't know, stop drinking to-go coffee because you're talking 55-fold more BPA into your beverage than if you were drinking just water from a plastic bottle. 55-fold. The other thing is shift from drinking out of plastic water bottles as much as you can. And certainly don't let them sit out in the sun, to let them sit in your car, because that's again, accelerating the breakdown of the plastic and the chemicals are going into your
But you say that, Rhonda, and then I think, well, look at the supply chain. And in a supply chain, these are not always going to be perfectly chilled or at room temperature. They're going to be thrown in a corner somewhere. They're going to get crushed. They're going to get heated up. They're going to become warm. They're going to become cool and warm again. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. When they're on the truck, they're in the summer, they're being transported to where they're in the warehouse, they're sitting in. Yeah. The reality is don't drink out of the bottle. Just get rid of the plastic bottles. Get rid of them.
One thing we haven't talked about is tap water.
Yes.
Because, the filter covers that, right? And what about hormones? Is there any truth to this idea that since the invention of the pill, there's now more female hormones in the water supply? Is that, have I just got that out of my ass? Or is that?
I mean, I think there's some places maybe where you live where the tap water is,
this is BS face. You can just say this is BS.
I think the bigger problem is the BPA that's disrupting our hormones. If you want to focus, if you want to be angry at something, that's what you should be angry about because that's actually what's disrupting our hormones and it's really what's ubiquitous. Right.
So water filter, avoid coffee cups, avoid heating plastic, avoid plastic bottles.
Yeah, that's the major thing for the BPA. Now microplastics, we're breathing them in, but that.
Okay. Anything else?
For the BPA?
For everything. To do with plastics, microplastics.
Yeah. I mean, yes, I would say that if we're talking about plastics on the whole, microplastics as well. So the major source is ingestion. And I mentioned size matters. Well, it turns out dietary fiber also can help you excrete microplastics. So both you've heard of prebiotics and fermentable fibers, soluble fiber. It creates a viscous gel in your gut and that encapsulates plastic particles and moves them out through your feces. So you poop them out. So fiber is actually good for that reason. The other thing with the microplastics, so everything that I mentioned, reverse osmosis, water filter, not drinking out of plastic bottles, not heating them, all that also applies to microplastics because you're ingesting them. You're also ingesting microplastics in your food. So you want to avoid, like, the oceans are polluted with them. So you want to avoid eating like fish that have their intact gut and intestines, like shellfish, eating like shrimp or things like that, because the microplastics are accumulated in the intestines of the fish.
I'm regretting doing this episode now.
I love prawns. Sorry,
yeah, prawns, exactly.
Shrimp, as you call them.
But the other major source of microplastics is actually from the air we breathe. And so we're breathing in microplastics constantly. And that's also because we live in a plastic world. So, tires, if you're in a, urban place, that tires are made of rubber, but also a lot of plastic polymers. So the friction of like the tire is like bringing it into the air. We have our clothes that are nice, cool, fancy clothes that we wear. Microplastics are all in the clothes. So when we wash them and they come out, they get in the ocean, but also the dryer, they come out into our environment. So we're breathing these in our shoes. I mean, just everywhere. Okay. It's in the air. And so, when we breathe in the microplastics, they get into our lungs, which plays a role in respiratory disease, but also this is very disturbing. Essentially, so have you guys heard about this study? This was done in Sao Paulo, Brazil, where they looked at a variety of different organs and microplastics in those organs. And it was found that microplastics accumulated in the brain 10 to 20 times more than other organs. They're essentially everywhere. They're in 100% of semen samples that have been measured. They're in testicles. They're everywhere. Placenta, but 10 to 20 times more in the brain, which is astounding considering we have something called the blood-brain barrier that's supposed to not let stuff get into the brain, like microplastics, right? And so part of that is that the nanoplastics, the size matters. So like the small ones are getting in. But the other part is that when we are breathing in microplastics, so we have something in our olfactory, in our nose called olfactory neurons. And those neurons have fibers that extend into our brain. And so essentially you breathe in the microplastics and they can get into the brain through the olfactory fibers and then get transported to other parts of the brain. A lot of scientists have sort of, I would say, they're using this method to deliver drugs to get past the blood-brain barrier because it's a way to get past it. So essentially you're breathing in microplastics and those are getting in the brain. There's studies now showing that people with Alzheimer's disease post-mortem, if you look at their brain, they have 10 times more microplastics than post-mortem brain of people without Alzheimer's. So this is playing a role in Alzheimer's disease as well. Wow. So you want an air filter. This is what I'm getting to. An air filter. You want to any kind of HEPA filter. It can be, it doesn't have to be the fancy, really medical grade ones. It can be any kind of HEPA filter. They really do work. I have a Honeywell HEPA filter in all the rooms in my bedroom. I also have an IQ Air monitor that measures the particulate matter. And you can see the data. If you turn off the filter, the particulate matter goes up. And it's very, very obvious. Like if I'm traveling, I unplug everything. I don't leave the filters running. And you look at the IQ and it's it goes up. So, an air filter is another thing that I would say is a simple solution in terms of getting rid of the microplastics that we didn't cover as well.
Rhonda, and there's been one thing that I read about that was very interesting, positively racist, which is black plastic, which is the worst type of plastic.
It is. So black plastic. So there's another type of chemical called brominated chemicals. Brominated chemicals are a type of chemical that's flame retardant. So flame retardants are often put in electronics because electronics, we don't want them starting fires, right? And so black plastic is often made from recycled electronics, hence the black color. And so these recycled electronics have the brominated chemicals in them. And there was a very famous study that was published in 2018. I think it was the University of Plymouth or something that published a study, they looked at a variety of black plastic articles. So everything from black spatulas to spoons to baby toys, and found that they had 30 to 40 times higher levels of these brominated chemicals, which by the way are known carcinogens, than is considered safe. And so black plastic is something you definitely want to avoid. I mean, have you ever ordered a rotisserie chicken? And it's the chicken's still hot and the bottom of the thing is black. And remember I told you heat it's accelerating the leaching of everything into your food, whether it's a brominated chemical or a BPA or a microplastic, it's all coming in and it's accelerating the process in real time. It's almost like getting something that was over the course of 10 years, this is leached into your, and it's just like minutes, right? Because that's what the heat does. It accelerates that oxidation process. So you want to avoid the black the black plastic as well. The black straws, like everything, the black stuff, it's not good, especially heating it. So get rid of all the black spatulas, because that's like the worst culprit is the heat plus the plastic. So that's also something that's bad. And that's associated with cancer, the brominated chemicals as well.
But it's also the pans as well, because let's talk about pans, because I never, like, when I was a kid, like, there was a pan we never had much money. Like, if there was a pan with a few scratches on it, who cares?
I know. Teflon. Yeah. So the Teflon, that's actually has forever chemicals in it. So we didn't talk about forever chemicals. They're called PFAS. They're called forever chemicals because they last in our environment for like years. So they're in our bodies. I told you BPA's half-life is about 2 to 3 hours. It's excreted through your urine. Forever chemicals, the PFAS, are in your body for like 4 to 5 years. So really a long time. These chemicals are added things to make them water repellent, non-stick, oil resistant, stain resistant, all those things, right? And so you have these pans that are non-stick and you're heating them. I probably have forever chemicals in me from like, when I was a kid, right? Like I remember my mom bought all that non-stick pan, we were cooking with that. And so that's the worst thing that you can do is heat that non-stick pan, because you're getting those PFAS, forever chemicals, in you. And those are also disrupting hormones. Those are also associated with cancer as well. So, also in our clothing, right? So anything that's if like water repellent clothing, I mean, that stuff is all forever chemical that you're getting into your skin and absorbing. The worst is eating it though. And the forever chemicals are now, unfortunately, they're lipophilic. So they're attracted to fat, and they're found in high fat foods. So it's been shown now that our water sources are contaminated with phthalates. They're contaminated with forever chemicals. And so you have this sludge, this fertilizer that's used in, farming and stuff. Even the organic farms are now contaminated with forever chemicals and phthalates, which is in the sludge, and, which have all these chemicals. And so the cows are eating it. And the way that the cows get rid of forever chemicals, not like us, we don't excrete it through our milk, but they get rid of it through their milk, their dairy. And so I don't know if have you guys seen these studies that have been done where they've gone around and looked at milk, like organic, grass-fed, like the thing that you think's the best, tons of forever chemicals in it because the cows are contaminated and they're excreting it through their milk. So dairy, milk, high-fat butter, cheese, this all has the phthalates and the forever chemicals because they're lipophilic and they're attracted to fat. And so now even our fat foods are like sources for these chemicals. This is probably why no one wants to address the issue, because it's like, it's everywhere. It's like, you have to do what you can. I call it like, it's like imperfect avoidance, because like you have to eat, you have to live, right? But like, do what you can to like reduce your exposure, whether it's, the reverse osmosis filter, getting the air filter, doing not cooking with the Teflon pans and not heating the plastic and not drinking the to-go, all those things, do all those things, like, because you're going to be exposed to it. Like you order takeout, those like, if you go to a bakery and it's like the tissue paper, that's all lined with forever chemicals. It's to prevent the grease.
Or if you get pho, they give you a black plastic bowl.
Oh, the pho is the worst. I can't tell you, like during my 20s, like I love pho and I like take out pho and like the plastic, container. I mean, I know, like it's like.
And receipts.
Oh, and receipts. Yes. Receipts are terrible. I have this funny story because.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Well, like paper.
Yes.
What's wrong with receipts?
Strapping, mate.
Oh my gosh. You haven't heard about this?
No.
So receipts are, the printing that's on the receipt is done with thermal paper. And essentially the way that you're able to get the ink on, it's not ink, it's like the printing on it is, it's coated with BPA, coated with it. Bisphenol A, that stuff that we're talking about. Now, the worst insult is ingesting it. But unfortunately, if you have any kind of cream on your fingers or like sanitizer everyone uses now ever since COVID, like this hand sanitizer everyone uses, that causes the BPA from the receipts to go into your circulation 100-fold. So you don't want to touch receipts. And if you're someone that's working in like your, with the cash register or anything like that, you have to use nitrile gloves. Like you don't want to be touching that every day. latex gloves don't do it. It has to be nitrile, and latex doesn't filter out the BPA. But it's funny. I was in the San Diego airport, and this guy was there, and I just couldn't help myself because he was like, I saw him like the person in front, giving receipts, and I was like, he's giving all these people receipts. And finally he came to me, and I come up with my Yeti glass, and I was like, hey, can you put my like latte in my Yeti? And he's like, oh yeah, because I didn't want the to-go cup. And I was like, hey, by the way, you shouldn't be handling those receipts because they're coated with BPA. I'm like, do you know what BPA is? And he goes, oh yeah, something like endocrine. I was like, yes, it disrupts your hormone, testosterone. And it's a funny story. I was in the airport. I was going on Chris Williamson's podcast, and I talked all about some of this stuff. And then I went, I don't know, a month later, I was back at the same coffee place, and he was there, and everyone working there, I told him to wear nitrile gloves. Everyone working there was wearing nitrile gloves.
Nice.